Good afternoon and welcome to the Podathon on Transfer Deadline Day of the Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. We're continuing with our international gathering of Arsenal fans to talk about the transfer window. I'm Lord Hill Wood, Steve, live from Warsaw, 37 degrees. Betty Swallock's all round here, and joining me this afternoon from sunny south of England in Pompey is Stuart. Hello, Stuart. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, cool. Ready and up to discuss the ins and outs of Arsenal's window?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Cool. And we're going to cross over to the other side of Europe now, from Warsaw to Tenerife with Briggsy. Sat there in brilliant sunshine in Spain. Hello, Briggsy. How you doing, son?
Hello there. How's everything? Everything okay?
Yeah, lovely. I think we're going to have a good chat here, and let's hope we don't get too sweaty. To say hello to our listeners in the chat box before the start: Jake Taylor, Winston, Ryan Cost. Who else is in there? Stuart Wilders, Arsenic Guna, Matt Roberts, Richard Garrett, Hassan Love, Michael Heineman, Robert Wilkes, Frank Gunner, Loki's back again. Lots of you in there. Gentlemen, there's 30 of you watching. I've got 8 likes. Don't take the piss. Give the like button a little tickle. If you see the bell at the top, give it a push. Then you'll know that you'll get alerted to the fact every time we're online talking rubbish. So let's go back to the start of the show again. So far today, been very, very quiet. We've got a new sort of concept to transfer window because it ends at 5 o'clock on the last Friday before the start of the season. What do you think of our window so far, Briggsy?
Well, I think it's been a good window. We've addressed a few issues that we needed to address, i.e. the goalkeeper. I've wanted a new goalkeeper for about 3 years now. Peter Cech ain't up to it anymore. He's too old. So that's the first thing I really was looking forward to, is getting a decent goalkeeper. I'm not sure about the 2 defenders we've got in. I've still yet to see them really. The young fella with the curly hair in the midfield, Matteo. I can't pronounce his surname.
Guendouzi.
Guendouzi.
Yeah.
I swear they buy players with really dodgy names so we cannot sing songs about them. And that's why our atmosphere is terrible at the Emirates, because no one can pronounce their names. So that's one of my biggest issues. But he seems like he's a bit of a character. He's done all right in midfield through some of the games. He has been a bit iffy here and then, but he's only young, so we've got to remember that. And he hasn't cost us too much money. So he's looking promising. The lad Torreira, we ain't seen him play much for Arsenal, but we've seen him in the World Cup, and he was brilliant, especially with his muscling off Ronaldo. So it's been a good window for us. I don't think it's been that bad. There's people want more. I mean, today they're going to be pulling out their old jokes like, oh, it's transfer deadline day, but as Arsenal fans call it, it's Thursday. You know, them jokes are going to come out. We've done our business early, and that's what we always ask for. Get our business early so we can get ourselves up and running at the start of the season, and that's what we've done. So I'm quite happy. I'm really happy, yeah.
Good stuff. And let's be fair, all those people that are saying about Arsenal fans calling transfer on Thursdays, I think it's Spurs fans who need to be getting used to that now. Bankrupt Middlesex need to find £500 million for their new ground and don't have it. It's a wonder they haven't sold half their team. Stuart, on that cheering news, what do you think of the transfer window?
I think we've had a cracking transfer window. I really do. I think we've addressed a load of the issues that we had going into the transfer window. You know, one of the big problem that we've had for fucking years has been our defence and our defensive midfield. And the gap between our midfield and our defence has been far too wide. You know, potentially we've addressed that. I mean, I'm excited at the prospect of having Lichtsteiner, Socrates. I was hoping for a real ugly bastard like a Vida beside him. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. And Monreal on the left-hand side. And as we said, you know, we addressed the goalkeeper too. And Torreira, he's like a little Jack Russell nipping at your legs. I think that's cracking. I think we've never had an issue with our attacking play. You know, our attackers are some of the best in the league. Yeah, I think the big question now is can we find a way for it all to gel together? Yeah, it'd be nice to have a couple more signings in. Yeah, it'd be nice for the Dembeles of this world and the Vidas of this world. You can't have everything in life, can you? It could be worse. We could be a Spurs or a Man United fan right now.
Yeah, most certainly. As both of you said, the positions which we needed to have addressed have been addressed. Did either of you see the pre-season game against Chelsea, which I thought Cech played very well in, and I thought it was very noticeable that he played a lot with his feet out from the back and he got down well and made quite a few good saves. perhaps what was made him a bad keeper in the past was the fact the coaching at Arsenal was so bloody awful. And Jerry Payton being thrown out, perhaps that's revitalised not only Cech's career but maybe Martinez's as well. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you might be right there, but I also think the fact that we've addressed the goalkeeping issue as well by bringing in another goalkeeper, young keeper, Cech's not as comfortable as he used to be. Whereas before he had Ospina there, he's like thinking to himself, well, I don't have to do too much because I'm much better than him. And also the other thing, the biggest surprise of all the things is that he's actually saving penalties, which he couldn't do last year or the year before that. So, you know, he's getting better. Maybe he has got a couple more seasons in him. But I'm more excited about Leno playing a few more games than Cech, and then virtually taking over the number one spot. That's what I want, ideally. But Cech's a good number two, definitely 100%. He's done well in pre-season, but you've got to remember, it is pre-season. Things do change, you know. We beat PSG 5-1. We ain't going to beat Man City 5-1 first game of the season. I hope we do, but we won't.
No.
You know.
I think
realistic.
Yeah, and I think it's also very good that there's now no one in the side basically who can take their position for granted. Perhaps, you know, Leno coming in and giving competition in the goalkeeping is a good thing. Let's go on to the defence. Stuart, what do you think of this decision to let Chambers go, leaving us with possible 4 CBs of Nacho, Mustafi, Socrates, and Bobby Holding?
It's a weird one, isn't it? It's a strange one. Yeah, I suppose the only sort of example you could drive it would be that you've got 3 right-footed even centre backs, and only a couple of left-sided. Maybe I was thinking they were going to get a last-minute deal, which doesn't appear. Well, we got 3 hours left, doesn't appear to have materialised. That's an area that I think you perhaps could address. You know, I think maybe we go and solve that in January. We've got to sort of find our way through it now until January. What's the best pairing? Probably Socrates and Holding for me. Don't know enough about Mavropanos. There seems to be a lot of stuff said about him that's really positive, but I haven't seen enough to really judge him. I would say for me, Holding and Socrates.
What do you think, Briggsy? I mean, for me, I think Mavropanos is a great prospect, but I don't think he's had enough experience yet.
I think what you'll find with the younger players, even Rob Holding as well, they will get found out against top opposition. You know, if you're playing against Man City, Aguero's going to make a meal of it. Players are going to make mincemeat of a young centre back. You do need someone in there, as you said a bit earlier on, a big ugly bastard who's just going to put his body on the line.
Yeah.
We've got that in Socrates, and we've also got it in Mustafi in bits and pieces, but he's got so many errors about him. It'd be brilliant for 5 or 6 games, and then all of a sudden he'd make 3 or 4 howlers in one game, and you're 3-0 down. So that's the problem. We need to get Koscielny back as quick as possible from his injury. Address other issues as well. If we can get a defender in today, that'd be great, but I don't see it happening again. Once again, we might have to look through our youth system and see if there's a defender who's coming up through the ranks who might be able to fit in there and do a job for us as well. That's what I think.
Yeah, go on, Stuart.
I was going to say that I think that's the problem child, isn't it? That left-sided centre-back position. I'm absolutely scared witless of the prospect of Mustafi and Socrates played together. I think they're both too slow, and I'd like to see a sort of a ball-playing left centre half. Probably Holding's the best we've got in that position today. Is it ideal? No. But I don't think we've got much choice going into this into the new season. With 3 hours to go, you'd expect some noises by now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think at the moment the thing is we don't have to worry about trying to get rid of people abroad because the deadline for them is different to the deadline for getting in. I understand Welbeck's been told he can go. The problem is that actually there were no offers for him. And I think that's pretty obvious. We all know why. I think clubs are scared off by, firstly, his salary, 115k a week. Secondly, his injury record. And thirdly, general bad coordination and crapness in front of goal is the other problem. But to go back to the defence, I find it a bit harsh to judge any of them on previous exploits because the system in which they were playing started them up. It was like trying to play cards, you know, with only sort of half the deck. stacked against them. So they've got to be given the benefit of the doubt. I think the new coaching staff have got to be given the benefit of the doubt to see what they can do with not only the defence and the keepers, but what's in front of them to protect them. So
I think that's a good point, Steve, actually. I mean, we go back to the days of Coquelin. Coquelin was no world-class defensive midfield, was he? But we're always felt a little bit stronger with him alongside Santi Cazorla. Yeah, we don't have that anymore. Yeah, the nearest we've got to that now is this Torreira, which, you know, I don't want to sort of go as far as to say he's the second coming, which, let's face it, as Arsenal fans like to do. You know, already he's the best DM going in the world, when, you know, clearly that's not the case. Time will tell. But I feel a lot more comfortable having a player like that in front of the two centre halves. You know, come back to my earlier point. Last year, it was really evident to me the gap between Xhaka and Ramsey in most cases, and the two centre halves was enormous. And the moment that one of them bombed forward and lost possession, you had a massive bloody gap that you had to close down quicker. So you had Mustafi running into space, flying into challenges, and then room over behind him. Hopefully now, if we solve that, because one thing about Torreira I have seen is he's quick and he's tenacious. Close that gap, we've got half a chance. I mean, the question for me is, what's he going to do alongside him, and what's he going to do in front of him?
Well, I think the thing is with Torreira, if you watch him play, he scans left and right, backwards and forwards constantly all the time. So he's sitting, he's watching, he's reading the game, he's watching for dangers, he's constantly adjusting his position. And I think one of the biggest things as well is, I don't think you'll find Emery will have the wing back so committed high up the pitch. So there will be a more a semblance, if you like, of defensive strength. Then just a shout out to Matt Sanasi, who was in the previous podcast. He says, is that Giroud in the white shirt in Tenerife? So you got some fans there, Briggsy.
It has been known, I am known as the Fat Giroud.
Too many tappers in Tenerife, that's what it sounds like. And pint.
No, that was the tappers in England. I'm getting slimmer out here, if anything.
In that heat, you would be. So, what do you reckon to what Stuart was talking about? I mean, about these gaps between the midfield and the gaps between the back five. I mean, we talked about it on ABW many times.
I think what we could do now is that the problem is when we had Wenger always set a same formation every game, and whether he was playing Man United, whether he was playing Stoke, or whether he was playing any team, it will always be the same formation. Now we can make a formation to suit against our opponents, to beat our opponents. I think if you can play Torreira just in front of the centre defenders at some games, and he can move a bit forward, he's not going to score us 10 or 15 goals, so we know that he ain't going to be a goal scorer. So let him do his defensive duties. That's what he's there for. So I reckon he can play just in front in the sort of like a diamond formation, and have one a bit more further up with Xhaka and Ramsey on the other side. That's what I think. You could play a diamond formation and then turn into a 4-4-2 quite easily as well, if need be. Personally, I think it's all about playing to your opponent's strengths. So it will always change no matter who you're playing, and I think that's what we'll get with Emery as well, as our manager, because Wenger, he didn't seem to change the formation that much.
Would you?
Yeah, I think that this is the big thing with Emery, that he's a very meticulous man, scouts. He picks a team to beat an opponent. He's not going to play the same system or the same tactic or the same team even for the next game. What were you going to say, Stuart? What do you think?
I was going to say, would you play Xhaka next to Torreira or in front of Torreira? Would you play Guendouzi?
I don't know, because I don't know if Guendouzi is going to play as many games as we think he might. I think you'll probably see him play about 20 games. He'll probably start on the bench. I think what you'll find this weekend is you'll probably have Torreira, Ramsey, Xhaka, and have your wingers. But that's what I think. We just have to wait and see. It's very exciting times for us, because we don't know what we're going to see. You could tell last year, you could tell what bench we're going to have. You can tell what substitutes he's going to make. You know when he's going to make them. You know what formation we're going to play. You knew everything before you got there. You didn't have to be, a football tactician to work out what Wenger was going to choose. Now we're going to be very different, and we're going to have a lot of questions going to be asked every weekend. What's he going to play? What's he going to do? And we've got the players to do that now. So myself personally, I would probably have Torreira playing further back, and Ramsey and Xhaka on either side of him a bit further up, as a kind of, like I said, a diamond formation, and maybe Mesut Ozil just behind a lone striker. That's what I would personally do. But we'll wait and see. I can't wait to the weekend, and we'll see what he's come up with.
I'd quite like to see him start Is it Guendouzi or Gendozi? Have we figured this out yet?
It's Guendouzi.
It's Guendouzi. I can't see him play Guendouzi. I've never seen a kid of 19 with that range of passing before, and that confident, given he's only played 15 games in the French League 2. I've never seen anything like it. And I take your point, Tony, but I quite like to see Guendouzi alongside Torreira. I think.
The only reason why I don't think he's going to play too many games is I think in pre-season it's a lot different game. It's not as fast. No one's putting in the challenges that they will play in the Premiership. I think if you go against a certain team who will play a bit more physical, he's going to get hit a couple of times, and you're going to find him being a totally different player. That's what I think. It's all guesswork, of course.
Yeah.
But I just can see it happening. The flair player in England doesn't last too long because of certain players. So hopefully he can get a bit of strength on his side, and then he may be able to muscle it off. But I do see him as someone who might take a few knocks here and there. That's what I just see.
Yeah.
I think it's also the thing that Torreira won't be fit for the next game. He won't be match fit, and that there's a question actually of whether he starts at all. So whether El Neni starts, who starts in the midfield, as Briggsy was saying, it's all up in the air. No one knows what's going on. That's what's making it quite exciting. We've got 2:20 in Britain now, so we've got couple of hours to the end of the window. If there was a player or there was something going to come in last minute, where would you like it to be? If there was only one you could have, what position? For
me, left centre back, no question. And I'd want someone that could complement Socrates. Just a point on Socrates, he's come under a lot of stick in pre-season. A lot of people said he looked slow. But I go back to the likes of Tony Adams and Martin Keown. I don't remember them ever being that quality, that sort of up for it in pre-season. I reckon give him a few games. You watch him fly on Sunday against Man City. You might get sent off. You might fly into a few challenges, but I don't think you could judge a centre-back, especially not a centre-back like a Socrates in pre-season. So, but I'd like someone to complement him. I like someone alongside him. I'm not so fussed about Dembele. You know what? I've written down here, Dembele, Nelson. We talk a lot about Nelson and his emergence in pre-season. Got to give the guy a chance. If we don't give the guy a chance, he'll end up playing for somebody else in the next year or two. Now's his time.
Yeah. What do you think, Briggsy? If you had a choice of position, what would you bring in?
Well, to be honest, I couldn't earmark a player because most of the players that I would like to have come to Arsenal, they've gone to other teams. So, but I would like a showpiece player, like a player you're just going to be thinking, do you know what? I can't wait to Sunday. It's a player I really want to see. So if we got Dembele, it would be great. It'd be mouth-watering, but I just think it'd be too late for him to play on Sunday. But I just really wanted someone, when we signed Mesut Ozil that time and people were jumping on cars, jumping over each other, I even had sex with my girlfriend that night. That's how good that signing was. You don't get lucky that often. But all I'm saying is I think we just need one player just to make us feel, do you know what? This is our season. The day when we signed Sol Campbell, I turned to my dad that day. I said, you know what? We've won the league. And that's what I want. If you can get a player like that, I don't think you're going to find it at this stage of the day. But that'd be ideal. I don't care. It's more up midfield to complement our strikers. I think we've got the best strike force in Aubameyang and Lacazette. I think we're going to be smashing goals in left, right, and centre. We just need someone to be that link man. So we're waiting to see. Definitely, as Ozil does it for us. But I would like another little gem in the midfield somewhere.
Yeah. Well, it was just a couple of rumour updates. Kiki Marin, who's never really that reliable.
Nah.
But 10 minutes ago, he said we're definitely still in for the in for Vida, even though we've said we're not in for Vida to the British media. Kiki Marin also says we're after Dembele as well. So you can clutch at those straws with whether you believe him or not. I'm just going to go back to the chat box a minute. Got 77 watching. I've got 27 likes. Give me some more likes, people. Going to do some more shout outs here. Mayank Nagnadran, Daniel Cronin, Matt Sanassi from this morning, Adam Pulvurde, Swiss Gooner 88, Abner Salihi, Michael Hanneman. Who else is in there? Come and say hello. Give the Alan Wiseman hello. Akib. Mayank's in there again. Nick Wheel, K-Man, Himanshu Tanaya, Nicky Wilson. He's just got in from work. Who have we signed? No one at all, son, is the answer to that. Fabrice
You should
Nelson.
have told him someone else. You should have told him someone. You should have said, we signed this player, we signed that player to see. It would have been
he would have stalked me for a week. Arsenic Gunner, Loki, Ryan Cost back in there that was on this morning. Liam. So hello everybody. Lovely to see you. Give us some likes, please. I know we keep asking for likes, but I need to explain the more likes we get, the more money YouTube pays for advertising, which is what funds all the equipment and the hosting and everything for the podcast. So we're able to provide all this content to you guys and people for free. If you subscribe to us by touching the bell at the top, that'd be brilliant. That means every time we go live on air, you get a notification to your mobile device that we're about to talk bollocks. So back to my two guests, Briggsy in Tenerife, and I've got Stuart in sunny Pompey.
If only.
It's not sunny there. So
it's been peeing with rain all day.
As you can see, I think Briggsy's out by the pool or on his balcony.
balcony.
I've actually had to got all my windows closed because it's 37 degrees outside, and if I open the windows, you won't see anything apart from a pair of glasses. I'll be like the Invisible Man. So, to sum up, what are your hopes for the season, Briggsy? What are your feelings for how fans are going to react? What are your personal hopes for the season, and what do you think we should be looking to get to by, say, January?
Well, I'm quite realistic. It's a transitional phase, so we're not going to be looking to win the Premier League. Let's be honest. If we win the Premier League by some imagination, that'd be great. But I just think the Europa League is definitely achievable for us as a team. We've got being allowed to play shit, so that'd be great for us. We've also got a team set up quite early as well, so we don't need to wait for players to be eligible to play for us. So I think that's achievable. I hope that we finish in the top four, maybe just outside of the top four, but a couple of good games, and we could snowball. We could snowball and carry on winning games, and then who knows? Leicester won the league 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and they was favourites to be relegated. So we're 22-1 to win the league. Why not? But I just think we'll probably finish about third.
Okay, Stuart.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at our results last year, we finished outside the top four based on our away form primarily. Mm-hmm. So I want to see us improve our away form. I want to see us stronger away, more defensive, not letting in stupid goals, making crazy, stupid mistakes. That's my ambition for the season, and that should guide us into the top four. I like you, Briggsy. I'm not looking at the Premier League at this point. I just want us to improve as a unit, and I'm confident we'll do that.
Yeah, I think we can get in the top four, and I'll open up a few last-minute little tickles for you to think about. We got all our players back early from the World Cup. In fact, most of our players didn't go there, so they've had a full pre-season for the first time in probably 10 years. Our neighbours basically have only had most of their players report back for training this week. They haven't bought any players either. Chelsea have been in disarray because they had a manager, they couldn't work out how to sack him and not pay him. Then they had a new manager, they couldn't work out how to get him without paying for him. So by the time they finished that, they left themselves buggered in the transfer window. They've just spent £72 million on a goalkeeper and acquired Savicevic on loan. But Man United are struggling away. They don't seem to be able to buy any. The latest rumour we heard was Phil Jagielka to Man United, which is quite amusing. So I think it's quite possible if we got a good start ahead of us that we can do some stuff. But I think fans have got to be aware of the fact that, as Briggsy said, it's a transitional period. It's going to take time. It won't solve itself in 1 or 2 windows. So what do you think of that?
Do you know the biggest problem we had the last few years, and this is the honest truth, and this is me talking as a supporter, as a fan, is we haven't had the fans on side as much. We'll go to games, there'll be a negative attitude. As soon as you get there, you think to yourself, what's the point of turning up? We've got people who've got different opinions about different things, arguing amongst each other in the pubs, in the bars, in the grounds, watching it on streams and everything else, on Twitter. Now, this time, we should be all together, should be getting behind the same team together. We should be supporting and all on the same wavelength, on the same page. And hopefully, that'll go onto the pitch and our players will perform a lot more better. I think that's going to happen this year. Hopefully, after 3 or 4 games, we'll see how good this team is.
Yeah. Stuart?
Yeah, just let's get behind the team. Let's not worry about all the antics off. There's loads of stuff going off. There's always stuff going on off the pitch. Let's forget about it. Let's get behind the team. That's what they absolutely need. No faffing around with, Cronky this, Cronky that. Let's focus on Emery and the boys. And, we can be it's been said many times, we can be the 12th man in our side this year. I believe that. And the away boys will do it as they usually do, but I think back at the Emirates we've really got to make an extra effort this year to support everybody.
Yeah, I think to unite around Unai, if you want to use a little saying, I think Briggsy's right. I think for the first time in maybe about a decade, you're going to see fans coming back to the Emirates who've been boycotting because they didn't like what the manager was doing, the previous manager was doing. Those old school fans coming back to away games. You're going to see people coming there positive, not knowing what to expect. And we've got new players, new way of playing. And it's all, as I say, it's all up for grabs. So I think it's a positive window. We still could have a surprise in the next 2 hours. I remember once sitting in working Poland, clicking refresh the last hour to go on my internet browser, and then suddenly, boom, up it came. We signed Jose Antonio Reyes. So you never know. We could we could sign somebody. So a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast will be doing 4 more of these shows today. The next one I think will be in about half an hour's time. Danny will be there. I'm not sure who's going to be with him, but please, if you're at home and you're not doing anything, you want to listen to Arsenal fans from all over the world talking about the transfer window, talking about our prospects in next season and the manager, come onto YouTube, get the link off of Twitter, get in the chat box, chat with the lads on there, and listen to what everybody's saying and enjoy, because that's what we provide it for. I'm not going to do any more shout-outs in the box. I've got 84 watching. I've got 40 likes. Come on, gentlemen. Give that like button a tickle. Subscribe. And I just want to go back to my guest before we close down, because we've been going for 28 minutes now. I want to go back to Stuart from Pompey and say what he's expecting for Sunday and what he thinks we will do possibly in the January window.
Right, so let's start with Sunday. So Sunday, I'm expecting us to come out all guns blazing. I'm expecting the fans to get behind the team and ignore everything that's going on with Cronky, and I'm expecting a win. Genuinely believe we can win Sunday. Yes, it will be tough. We've got the players to do it, and as you've said, a lot of our players are fresh. This is the time to beat Man City. They look odds on to win the Premier League again, don't they? But this is the time. If anyone's going to beat them, it'll be Sunday, and it'll be us. Looking beyond, if we don't sign a winger, I think the defender would be ideal for this window. Get that left centre back in. January, I think you've got to focus on maybe that right-sided wing position, depending on how Nelson does between now and then. Other than that, I think we've got a bloody solid team, to be honest. Yeah.
Briggsy, what do you think?
Well, Sunday, I wasn't so optimistic until I listened to Stuart there. I think Stuart's really hit the nail on the head, to be honest with you, because I think if we go out there straight away and attack them, get a couple of early goals, sets herself in a stride, it sets her stall out for the season. People will start recognising that this is actually a decent team. This is a team that you should take serious. And then the next game, maybe Chelsea will feel a bit vulnerable, they'll feel a bit scared of playing against us, etc. So, you want a really good first game to set yourself up for the next couple of games, because these are going to be the hardest games we've got. It's the first few games, I think. If we could get maximum points, then we're going to have a great season. Well, as I say, I'm optimistic only because watch Stuart. Come Sunday, I'll be totally different. I'll be like that watching the game. So we'll wait and see. But hopefully we can get 3 points. So come on the Arsenal.
Yep, I think on Sunday it's going to be interesting because we'll see how Emery's press works out. We'll see whether he actually plays Aubameyang in the middle or whether he plays him on the left. There has been some discussion he might play him on the left to dig out Kyle Walker, as always due a mistake when pressed, or dig out John Stones in the middle. He might even go with Lacazette and Aubameyang, one middle, one left, and we don't know who will be. So again, we're all sitting there going, oh, what will it be before? So I think we've got a good chance of taking something from that game. I think we've got a very good chance of taking something from the Chelsea game. But I think even if we don't take anything from either, the fans have got to be calm and they've got to understand this is a transition. We've got a new manager, new coaching. We've got new ownership now, basically, that he controls it 100%. Gazidis is probably going. So you've got to give the club the chance to put it right. And so we all look forward to Sunday. It's now 2:30 in Britain. There are 2.5 hours to the ding dong, which signals the end of the transfer window. Just before we go, do you think Premiership clubs were wise to have this thing ending the window before the season and starting the season so early in a World Cup year? Stuart?
Not with a World Cup, no. And not if aligned with other European leagues. I think it's been, will be to our detriment. I think you'll see that in the next couple of weeks. But we'll see. But I think you kind of need all your ducks in a row. You can't do this if other European leagues are not prepared to join.
Yeah. What do you think, Briggsy?
I'm of the same opinion as Stuart. If you're in a Europa League or the Champions League, you can't strengthen your team, whereas other teams who are in it from continental countries can still strengthen their team. So we're at a bit of a disadvantage straight away there. Another thing I would have liked us to do is actually stop a transfer window and then say, look, do you know what? You can buy players, but you can buy players from the lower leagues. Therefore, we're giving money and we're filtering money down to the lower leagues. It's giving a chance for the smaller clubs to become bigger. And then that way make British teams a bit more successful in the lower leagues. That's what I think we could have done. It could have been an idea that they looked at, but they didn't, unfortunately. I'll keep sending my emails to the FA, though.
Yeah, carry on. It's a good idea, that. I mean, the thing that I don't like about this window is not only can we not strengthen our team in the Europa League, but other big teams from abroad can come and unsettle our players.
Yeah, exactly.
And might force a club, no, maybe not Arsenal, but they might force a club who's skint to have to sell a player for less money than they would have done earlier on. Because and then what can that club do? Wait till January to strengthen? It's not good.
But on the plus side there, Man City won't be able to buy our players, though. It'll be some foreign team, so we can send them abroad. So let's take a positive from a negative.
There is that, and we can still offload Dave the Bin Man to Besiktas whether they like it or not.
I'm just sitting here thinking to myself at the prospect of Danny Welbeck lining up on the left of Man City, mouth-watering.
Well, there you go. So this has been a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast, Podathon Transfer Day Special. I'd like to say thanks to my guest Stuart from Portsmouth.
Thanks for having me on. You can find me on Twitter on @StuartWilders. Thanks again.
Yeah, give Stuart a follow. And Briggsy, live from Tenerife.
Thank you very much, guys. I hope you have a good day. If you do want to follow me on Twitter, it's @AFC Hymnsheet. That's AFC Hymnsheet.
Don't worry, everybody who's on the pods today will be getting a shout out and a follow these people from the podcast account. So I'd like to say thank you very much to my guests. Thank you to everybody in the chat box. Let's just go through last couple of people that are in there: Esco Burr, Winston, K-Man, Mayank, the Drift MC, Danny's lurking in there. I can see still. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We have 44 likes out of 77 watching. Those of you who are going to watch this later on YouTube when it's uploaded, you can still like us. You can still give us a subscribe. Thank you much for listening to Arsenal Bergkamp Wonderland podcast transfer special. Goodbye, thank you, and good evening. Danny, press that button.